Hey everybody, wanted to create a video on how to use WodUp, maybe use some of the features that are in here as well. So if we're looking at our day, let's say we get logged in, we're brought to a screen just like this one, and it has the different dates and days up at the top. You'll see up there Wednesday the 9th. Underneath that, you'll see water cooler. Underneath that, you'll see fitness and indoor class. But let's say you've logged in and it doesn't quite look like this. None of the workouts or the classes are showing. What we want to do is first scroll down to the bottom. There's going to be a gear icon, and then some blue writing that says choose which programs are on your timeline. We're going to click into there. If you're part of group classes, you'll want to make sure any group classes that apply to you are checked off. For example, if you don't have kids, then maybe don't check off the big or little rhinos. You might not have access to the Ultimate Bootcamp Challenge unless you've signed up for the Ultimate Bootcamp Challenge. But otherwise, every other class is fitness class, indoor, express, foundations, and legends. So you want to make sure those are checked off. Then you hit X to return. Now, if you're doing personal training, you don't have to worry about that step. Your program is going to pop up for you on whatever day that you're going to meet with your trainer. So first things first, we're going to look at, for example, the fitness class. We're going to click show full workout. And then you'll see some options. So you'll see announcements. It says view announcements. So you're going to click onto that. You'll see we've got some important stuff coming up. For example, our podcast is linked there. And then you'll see a way to sign up for Raise the Run, which is happening this Saturday. And it's got its link there as well. All of those links are clickable from this app. But anything happening in the gym, you'll see underneath the announcements tab. Underneath that, we've got warm up. So you want to view your warm up. You'll be able to see what you're getting into at the beginning of class. And then you'll also be able to see your pre-WOD just before the workout. Underneath that, that's where you'll see your workouts. That's where you'll see your strength pieces, where you'll see gymnastics, any mini pumps that usually happen after a workout. They'll be detailed here. And the neat thing with this is, let's say you're looking at the class ahead and you're like, hey, I don't know what shoulder presses are. There's going to be that icon to the right of it as a circle with an I in the middle. If you click on that, it should bring you to a video showing what a shoulder press is. We'll click it. And we can see the shoulder press movements. All right. So just a way to kind of get an idea of what you're getting into before we start class. Underneath that, you'll see mobility. Sometimes we don't have time for mobility, but there's generally a mobility piece in the programming. You can click view mobility and it'll show you some movements that you could do even at your house. Let's say if you didn't have time for it in class. So important piece there. Let's say you leave class and you're like, I just really need to work on my hip mobility or whatever it may be. There's some good videos attached here and a good idea of what to do to mobilize. All right. So we're scrolling back at the top. Something else we can look at is the water cooler. So very top, questions about today's training. Got something to share, post a message below. This is where we can talk about like, man, that workout was really brutal today. Or if you're looking ahead and you're like, in the warm up of fitness class, I don't know what rolling is. So you can put a comment up there and be like, hey, what is rolling? And either somebody who's done it before or a coach can get back to you, give you an answer. We can also post pictures, GIFs. It can get pretty funny sometimes, but that's a cool little feature there. So you don't really have to be on social media to be involved in the community of the gym. That's going to be a good place for personal training clients, group class people, nutrition clients, everybody to kind of come together in one place. All right, so if we're looking at the top right, we're going to see my initials, MT with a circle. We're going to click on that. It's going to bring you to your profile. This is my profile, for example. Here we can see some recent activity. So we can see the last workout I logged in class was June 16th. We've got Coach Mike commenting on it. And then we can go into analytics. And this is specifically important if you have a certain movement goal. For example, so we have some strength progressions. Let's say we're charting our progress with back squats or front squats or deadlifts or anything like that, or doing a workout. Well, let's look at movement specifically. So we'll go into movements. And in here, you'll see them broken up. You'll see weighted, body weight, cardio, whatever it may be. But you have a list of movements that you've tracked so far. So for here, let's say I click the front squat. I've only got one result so far. It's from June 9th. And it'll show whatever movement I had. But let's say we're in a progression and we're trying to improve a certain movement, whether it's on our own or it's through workouts at the gym. This will actually chart that progress, and you can start to see, are you trending upwards? Is what you're doing worth it? Kind of like we talk to people in our get to know you session, which is usually where people start with us. And we say that you want to make sure that what you're doing is worth it. And so this is a good opportunity to check in on those things, See, those things are important to you. All right, next one. You can see on the top left, there's going to be 3 lines. So you can see the WodUp icon, you can see timeline, and you can see feed. If you click timeline, that brings you right back to that first screen we started on. Let's say we go to the 3 lines. In here, you can see things like settings, but right underneath it's probably the most important one, which is going to be progress photos. Progress photos. Let's say we're going along and we want to make sure that we can see changes in our body, because it's really hard as we're going to see it in ourselves. This is a good place to store those photos. That way you can chart it. You can look back when it's been about 4 or 5 months, see where you started from, and be like, oh, okay, there's an objective piece of information. Here's an actual picture of what I look like. Do I look a little different now? This is a good place to store all of that for you. Again, if you go back here, there's a shortcut you can click up at the top to go to your profile. And then there's also some other things like settings. So let's go into settings. So this will bring you to, your account information. So you're looking at everything. Make sure your email is correct. That way you get any notifications. If you want to be alerted to chat messages, likes, comments, followers, posts, comments on posts, comments on the water cooler, which is specifically important. Comments on competitions coming up. We'll have some in-house stuff, events that we do. And then you can see, you can change different things. Like I want my weights measured in pounds, not kilograms, inches and meters. I've got my time set up. I've got my birthday in there. Got my height. You can put a bio if you want, and some privacy settings at the bottom. Once you're happy with it though, just make sure you hit save changes at the bottom. And then we'll go into the next thing, which at the top, if you're looking over on the right side, it's be right next to that circle. It's going to be that blue circle with a plus sign in it. We're going to click that. You're going to see some different things here. Like the first one's going to be personal workout. So let's say we click into that. Let's say we're running on our own. So we're going and we're training for some long distance running or just trying to get a little bit better at some things. We can add first exercise. We're going to go down. Maybe I'm going to use the example of running, but there's a lot of options here. Let's say you're working out on your own. There's back squats, bench press, a bunch of stuff at the top. Let's say we do cardio because we're looking at running. Now we're going to pick run from that option. And let's just pick your style for row. Maybe I picked the wrong thing here. Still says row. I don't know. Maybe it's something I'm doing. So at the top it says distance for time. Sure. We're going to click that. And it does want me to do row for some reason. So we're going to use row for an example. Well, let's say I do a test where I'm going to do 2,000 meters. That's a common benchmark. 2K row for time. Let's say we do it on our own. We're going to go over and we're going to change that into however long it took us. Let's say 7:15, right? That's pretty quick. Boom, we've got that in there. Let's say we've entered it. At the very top, it'll say finish workout with a check mark. It's over up here. I don't want to click the button. Dang, I clicked it. So if we want to go back and edit it, we could just hit that bottom button that says return to workout. If we wanted to save and finish, we'd hit that blue button. Let's go back. Same thing. Let's say I managed to click run the right way because I've got fat fingers. Well, let's say we did run. We could change it to miles. And then we can add our score in there and then follow the same steps to finish the logging. All right, but we're going to hit X. We're going to go back out. Exit without saving. Go back to that plus sign. Here's another shortcut to get to progress photos like we talked about. Let's take some pictures, chart your progress, see if what you're doing is helping you change anything that you want to. We've got nutrition. So let's say in here, we're looking at this is now a nutrition log. We're going to hit that plus sign for log nutrition. Make sure it's today's date. Let's say we're tracking on our own. We can enter our carbs, our protein, our fats, our total calories, any notes that we want at the bottom. Maybe we just want to keep things simple and add everything in here. All right, let's go back. Let's go back to that plus sign. At the very bottom, we've got weigh-in measurements. This is great. So we have something in the gym that's called an in-body scan. You can hop on there and it'll tell you your overall weight, your percent body fat, your lean muscle mass. And then you can see on the far right, you see it looks like a ruler or it could be a tape measure. That's going to be for you to actually measure your body in inches with different sites. Could be your arms, could be your waist, could be your chest, could be your thighs. We can add stuff in there. But if you're doing those in-body scans, sometimes it's hard to keep track of those papers or the paper printout. What we could do is we could take that information from that printout and we could log it in here. So we can add our overall weight, add our body fat, maybe add some measurements if we took some, add some notes, and then log weight. It's going to be a very simple way for you to keep your results in here. So the next time you go to do your in-body scan, you can objectively see if you're improving in the ways that you want to improve. Now, you can't log everything from the in-body scan because we go pretty deep on those in-body scans. We got a pretty good in-body system that's going to give you a lot of information. This app right here doesn't capture it all, but it does capture some of the essentials that you can use to track, especially if you're just trying to see if what you're doing is worth it. And that's it. That's your review of the WodUp app. There's a little bit more functionality, like you can message people and congratulate them on their results. For example, if we go timeline, we go in today, we go into a leaderboard for the class. We can see some people have completed the workout. We can go in and we can like, and we can leave encouragement and say, nice work. All right. And that's it. If you got any questions on this, send us an email, info@juggernaut-fitness.com, or ask a coach and we can get you some help. Thank you.